Good afternoon, Ajay ji.
Good
Ajay
afternoon.
ji is a CHRO from Intas, one of the leading pharmaceutical companies in India. And we are listening to him in a series of C-Suite Speaks. This is a series of interviews to get an understanding of how leadership is peerless, how leadership is alone at the top, and how a CEO, CHRO, contributes to the board amidst challenges and uncertainties. The interviews will inspire professional fraternity and will help us get inspiration and guidance about way forward in life and career. With this background, I sincerely welcome you, Mr. Ajay Bhatt. Mr. Ajay Bhatt works as CHRO in Intas Pharma, leading global pharmaceutical company based at Ahmedabad. Ajay carries rich experience in strategic HR, encompassing driving change in large, complex, and fast-growing organizations. He has worked throughout in pharma sector since 1987. He has worked with leading companies like Sun Pharma, Zydus Group, Torrent Group. His longest stint was at Abbott, handling international posting and versatile portfolio. He is a celebrated name in pharma HR for forming and executing talent strategies, sales force transformation, setting up of greenfield projects, organizational restructuring, and right sizing. Welcome Ajay ji and sincere thanks for participating in C-Suite Speaks.
Thank you, Nanda. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a pleasure.
With a deep sense of gratitude for accepting in spite of your very hectic schedule. Ajay ji, we would like our viewers to understand a brief of your journey from fresh HR professional after having done your master's in social work from MS University to CHRO. It has been a long journey and a tough journey, and your key takeaways from your journey.
I remember a lot of things from my journey in career, and instead of going a little bit more chronologically that I joined here and I joined here, I would possibly try to first summarize what I got from this journey, what I've learned from this journey.
Yeah.
Many things I've learned. First and foremost, the best learning which you get in any of this journey is from your colleagues, your mentors, and people you work with. That's what I've learned. For me, whether he is my boss or whether he is my colleague or whether he is my team member or whether the person is from a client group whom I'm serving, each of these have contributed immensely to what I am today.
Sure.
In their own form, in their own manner. Some would have challenged me, some would have coached me, some would have given me suggestion, or some would have rejected my proposal. But each of that opportunity they gave me has contributed to my career and my learning of how to get things done, leveraging people's capability, leveraging my capability and everything. So that's one part.
Sure.
Second thing which I've learned across my journey is that there's always a new opportunity. It's up to us to be innovative, to find way. If there's a lot of saying that if in Gujarati, for example, if one door closes, there's a second which opens up, and
yes.
NO stands for new opportunity. So I believe in that very strongly. That with every problem, there would be a solution. We'll have to look a little bit harder. And I'm not being cliche about it. In my career, there were enough amount of challenges which I would have got at different points of time. Maybe it could be a micro or it could be a macro from in terms of strategy also. And there will be always, if we have the right people, if we have the right capability, and if we ourselves are personally motivated and motivate people along with us, then we are able to find solutions. So innovating, finding solution is the second part of the learning which I have been able to get. One, people taught me a lot. Second, innovation helps. The third is that which is very personal, which has come possibly from the learnings I had got through my being while I was growing up, is that you have to have a personal courage and conviction.
Yes.
That personal courage and conviction comes from your own upbringing, your own way of your values, your belief that you can do it and people can do it. So there are a lot of things which have happened. Um, right from my childhood to my being adolescent, college at a different point of time, where my family, my mother, my friends, my teachers have helped me to imbibe those particular values, which gives that personal courage. So I largely would say these are three uh, pillars which got reinforced over a period of time and which I still believe are very important, which has shaped my career or my growth over a period.
Thank you for that. That brings us to the next question. What, according to you, are the mindsets or traits or orientations that will help a CHRO succeed in their respective organization?
No, your question is very vital, and in current context, when on the one side, I'm sure everybody's talking about COVID. So I'm not going to talk about COVID, but on one side, the organizations are dealing with volatile fluctuations. Volatile fluctuations in the natural conditions like COVID or natural disasters, or there's a right now we are going through COVID, but some point of time, some regions and country went through earthquakes, and then there are some other natural disasters. There's huge volatility of natural environment factors.
Yes.
There's volatility of economic factors. There's a volatility of political factors.
Yes.
So when there's huge amount of volatility which organizations are dealing, on the other side, organizations are going through their own inherent transformation requirement because of cost pressures, market access, technology, and different other things. The third dimension is the demographic, that the whole mindset of talent and talent capabilities are shifting. Now, a CHRO's role in this is to help organization and its leader to continuously stay steady on the course they have plotted. And staying steady does not mean they don't change direction, but staying steady on their direction of whatever they've said. In order to stay steady, they need to help the organization to look a little bit ahead, beyond the bend. The problem for many of us in many organizations is that we have been trained to look into a rear view mirror to project our future. We look at the trend analysis of what is my attrition rate last 12 months, so which will help me to decide what is going to be my attrition rate in future. But many of this thing, rear view mirror, is not working now. And that's where the role of the CHRO is important, because he has to help his leaders to start looking forward around the bend and start anticipating what's going to come next.
Yeah.
Of those
and
things,
there are no precedents.
Without there's no precedence, and there's no history, and there's no proved scientific or empirical knowledge to deal with that.
Yes.
And that's where you give me the third point, is that and then coach and help them to manage those situations which nobody has been trained for, nobody knew how to do it. On some of the principles of human principles or the basic principles of crisis management or basic principles of management. So that's one of the emerging strong roles of CHR, which is coming in terms of helping organization to achieve success or remain steadfast in spite of volatility. So that's one piece. The second one also is very important, is in terms of helping organization to achieve business objectives.
Yes.
And there are two dimensions to it. One is the people dimension, capability, and second is the organization dimension. And current CHROs need to understand business as much as the CFO understands, or as much as the marketing colleague understands, both parts. Because only because of that understanding, he'll be able to proactively start guiding and coaching and supporting his business in terms of identifying what are those capabilities which are required for your organization, not now, but for future also. And both are important.
Yes.
I need to run my current organization the way the bread butter is working, but I need to start changing my organization for future. I can't let go of my P&L right now. I can't stop my current business, but I need to prepare for future.
Yes.
And that's the key important role and key important requirements for CHROs now, and who are going to deal with the future.
So if I understand it correctly, what you are hinting upon is the emotional stability of the CHRO himself and helping others remain emotionally stable. This is not stagnant but stable, that the situations are in front of us and we can't run away from them. So, how do we ensure? So, I think a very important take from your answer is learn to be emotionally stable.
Yep.
I am a woman, and glass ceiling has always been a concern. What is your take on glass ceiling syndrome, and what would be your tips if that exists?
Personally, I believe there is no glass ceiling. There is a ceiling, and ceiling will be for everybody. it's uh, it's to demonstrate your capability to reach a particular position. So that's one. And when I'm saying that, I'm sure you are feeling I'm being a little cliche about it, but there are enough amount of evidences of women leaders who have done fantastically well. Right now in COVID, it's a small clip which goes around showing 6 women leaders in 6 different countries, and those 6 different countries have been able to manage their COVID situation fantastic. So I personally believe that there's nothing like glass ceiling. Yes, there there are organizations, there are countries, and there are regions where there is a tendency to believe that the males can do a better job, or was. Right? It's not there. Of late, I think that whole myth that this job is job of a male has been broken everywhere. There's nothing left. uh, Women has shown that they are more capable than men in terms of delivering some of the objects to be done. And there are enough, I'm not getting it, but there are enough amount of examples, right from space to travel to medical to politics to everywhere, to industry and education, where women leaders have done exceedingly better than their male counterparts. The reason why I'm saying exceedingly better, even if they are done equal, the percentage proportion of women are lesser than males in the same leadership role. But if in that role, if there's 1:5 and that woman has delivered 100%, that has to have a multiplier effect of 5, because she is working to influence the rest of the 4 to get that 100. And it's not easy. So I think the newer generation is more inclusive, is more non-biased towards genders, and they would be doing far better job than my generation and your generation to ensure that there's a level playing field for all genders. And I'm not saying male, female. It could be any gender. It could be any. It could be any kind of leanings. We will be having a future where this will be much more open.
Okay, so mindsets are going to change, and that will make a big impact, a positive impact. That's what your optimism is.
Mindsets are changing, and there is no option for economy and organization not to change. If economies and organization do not change, the demography will make them change. You look at the rate of female gender increases across the world in last 4 years.
Yes.
If you take that trend, and if organizations and countries do not understand it, they will have a problem.
I appreciate your point. Your optimism is something that gives strength to all the women who are listening to this. What would you say about the key gaps that may pull progress back in the organization? What are your strategies to manage those kind of factors?
Across my different, I started here. I may talk about some of the organization, not with the strength and weakness.
Yeah, sure.
Post my post graduation, I was selected by Sarabai Chemicals. That point of time, Sarabai Chemicals, and I still believe it's one of the fantastic organization for somebody to start scaling.
Sure.
People may not know its name now, but it had a culture of its own. It had a culture where people were proud about the quality of product they made.
Sure.
A huge amount of pride, right from the even a forklift worker, forklift driver, to the most complex person who's managing a reactor or a assembly or a formulation line or injectable lines. Everybody had
Sure.
that.
Sure.
I work with a company called Pharma. I grew with that company. I'm very proud to feel that that company taught me what is pharma marketing, what is pharma sales. They are very culture. They're a very strong culture of innovation, risk taking, being very cost thrift, but being very effective.
Yes.
I had opportunity I had opportunity working with a company like Abbott, a multinational American organization, very focused on values, pioneering, achieving, caring, enduring, four values. A lot of things which happen in Abbott happen around those four values. Doing things right way. And now I work with a company, Business-Intas. Again, a company which is full of values. Uh, the values of innovation, values of customer centricity, values of accountability, and among that, the value of simplicity, preferring to remain under key, doing things the right manner, but not creating too much of noise in its way. What have all this organization taught me? That fundamentally in this organization, what makes and breaks an organization is the values they have, and the values they live, and the values they are able to communicate in their words and action to the last person down in the line, the last person who possibly may not understand very technical presentations and everything. But if he is able to, that last workman in the line is able to communicate the essence of those behaviors of that value in his work, that is what is making and breaking those organizations.
Yes.
The culture, what we have and what we communicate as a leader and what we are able to demonstrate to people across different level
Sure.
is very important. And so the HR's role is to help leaders communicate the right behavior at the right level. Now, pioneering for a scientist is a different thing, and pioneering for a visual inspection workman who's visually inspecting your vial is a different thing. Opportunity for HR is to help people calibrate those behaviors and make that achievable. That's how you shape your organizational culture.
Sure.
And that's what makes and breaks an organization.
Sure. Sure. That's so well said. In spite of the values that you are talking about, in spite of calibration, the fact of life is also attrition. And in spite of the best environment, in spite of the best salaries, attrition has been a major challenge for HR. So, what are your current challenges in talent retention?
I think attrition is a challenge. Attrition has become more of a challenge because we are now dealing with a generation which is a different generation. Okay, the generations, the values or the anchors which earlier generation had are no more relevant with the newer generation. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. It is that is. To some extent, attrition is good. To some extent, attrition also is not. If you have a healthy attrition of 8 or 9%, it's good because then you are able to let go of your talent. If there are good talents, it goes out, it helps the industry to do better. If the bad talent also goes out, it helps your industry to do better. So I would always appreciate that there should be a reasonable attrition which should happen in an organization. If it doesn't, then also there's a. Now, fixing the right balance, how do we achieve it? And I can speak to you from my own experience of coming here in Intas and experience also. In Intas, for example, what we did is instead of trying to say, I need to fix attrition, I need to fix this, I need to fix this, we stepped back somewhere around after 7 or 8 months of my joining as a one HR team. We said, okay, fine. If we need to create over a period of time, this organization is one of the best organization for talent. What does that we need? And so we stepped back and looked at the whole organization systematically. And we came out with a strategy which we presented to our directors, which was essentially on 3 or 4 pillars. The first pillar again was culture. The second pillar was performance and productivity. The third pillar was organization and people development. And the fourth pillar is communication, reward, recognition. So we looked at 4 pillars. Now, if attrition is a problem, And if you need to hold attrition, you cannot pick up one lever and say, I'm going to do a lot of work of employee engagement, and so attrition is going to stop.
Yeah, it happens simultaneously.
Yeah, you will have to look at creating whole of that employees' quality of experience across different touch points he has with the organization. See, an employee and his family directly, indirectly interacts with the organization at different points of time.
Sure.
It is not only when he's in the organization. So we need to look at the employee experience across the time he touches the organization, across the time organization touches him throughout that journey of 24 hours. And that's where we'll have to find out which are those points which are relevant and what do we do as an organization to improve the quality of that experience.
Sure.
And the quality of experience will be in terms of his work, quality of his experience will be in terms of his hiring, quality in terms of his performance management, in terms of his development, in terms of what reward and recognition he does, in terms of opportunity he gets to interact and develop. If we are able to identify those points and if we are able to amplify and give a good experience, maybe we'll not be able to do over all of them. But if we are able to do a good job around 60-70% of that, there are organizations which have shown that they are able to hold on to their good talent in spite of attrition happening in the next company.
Sure.
We have our sites in many of the sites, places where we have employees. The next neighboring site has attrition which is around 2 times or 3 times than us.
Sure, sure.
And the only reason would be that how do you give those kind of different set of employees? One of the reason whenever we see attrition is why 60% of people are changing jobs because they got better salary. And many of us in HR believe that because people get better salary, they change the job. Whereas it's a fact, I'm not saying no, but that may not be the reason why he decided to start looking outside.
Yeah, that's an apparent reason, but actually not.
Yeah. And when he changes job, he needs to get a better salary. Otherwise, why the hell would he change a job? I mean, and the buying organization would also give 10, 15, 20% increase. Correct? There are cases that give 40, 50. So the primary reason that he changed a job because he got a better salary may not be the reason. It is a driving factor, yes, but that's not the reason. And so I think instead of trying to worry too much on attrition, I keep on worrying more about how do I retain. If I am focusing on retaining the right talent, if I do the right things with my right talent, people stay back. People choose to stay back in your organization, assuming apples are safe. Now, if I am giving $100 and somebody is paying him $200, why would my person not go? I mean, assuming there the culture is similar, because then I have not valued him versus the market, and that was my failure as an organization, not valuing my person. So that's my take on attrition.
What you have emphasized is the 4 pillars and strengthening the 4 pillars where employees' touch points are on a positive level, and then it is their choice to be with the respective company.
Correct.
Right? And it is a matter of choice. It is not a matter of force.
Compulsion, retention, and all that kind of stuff.
Your biggest win under odd circumstances, and how did you shape the circumstances? Man gets shaped by the circumstances, and man with his ability to influence the environment, he is also impacting the environment. So the bottom line is that how do you ensure that you are not just forced by the environment, but you also affect the environment, and environment are forced to change?
I fully agree with that. And I have been a very strong believer of taking things in my hand and shaping destiny rather than destiny shaping. I would not claim that if I'm falling from 10th floor, I may not get unscratched. I would. But I would certainly see to it that if I'm falling from 10th floor, I'll try to do something that I am less impacted than the other guy who's falling without trying. I have always strongly believed that I can create the paths. There may not be any such path, there may not be any such precedent, but there have been good amount of opportunities life has given me, my organizations have given me, my leaders have given me. They trusted me to go and find new things and new way of doing. I can give you 2-3 things. I would not say it's biggest or also, because the way I have looked at my journey is that I focus on one mountain at a time. I do not think of climbing Mount Everest, but I would think of going to the base first and then think what is the next 1,000 meters and then the next. So I always focus on climbing that mountain that point of time. Whatever is in front of me, I would give my best, my 100% to that mountain, rather than trying to think of the next mountain and side to other mountain. That's the way I have. The focus is very important. So there are 2, 3 things I can share. One, I can start from now and go a little back in the history because that would be much more fair. Look at COVID situation, COVID 2019. When it hit us, the pharma companies or anybody else was not sure of how to deal with it. Neither were we. Me and my HR team, my colleagues had 2 choices. One is to be victim of the circumstances and cry that, oh, all our workmen has gone, all our staff has gone, what do we do? Nothing is in our control because there was nothing in our control. Then follow whatever else has to happen. Or the option for us was that why don't we seize this opportunity, see what we can do about it. And I am blessed by having a very good team. My team is fantastic, very fantastic. Their passion, their commitment, their execution, and their speed is fantastic, mind-blowing. And together, and my business leaders. So we possibly were among the first Indian MNCs to put in place a global crisis management. I know multinationals do it.
Okay.
We were possible on 3 days before, a week before national lockdown, we already installed a global CMT where the business leaders and HR of India, Europe, US, and emerging markets, including manufacturing, R&D, and technical. 14 of us were on one call every alternate day.
Okay.
The focus of that strategic call was to look at business continuity, people safety, and the third most important thing which we came out with. What are the opportunities we have? What are the opportunities we have as an organization in this point of time? And together, all of us did a fantastic job. We were able to retain our workforce. We lost our workforce initially, but in 3rd week or 4th week, we were able to bring back our workforce to the extent of 60% across all our sites. The HR came out with a very agile policies of work from home, doubling medical insurance, taking care of our people, tying up with hospitals in anticipation that if my person gets COVID infection, how I'm not going to wait for government to come and help him. I am going to take care of it.
Yeah. And there are very, very few organizations who did this, actually.
Correct. So we worked on both. How do I ensure that the supply chain lines remain open? How do we get access to the best API? How do we ensure that my patients who are depending on our products gets our products? So that was a business continuity plan, which worked. In that process, we also identified some of the good opportunities to work with governments in Europe, in UK, in India, and did some good, fantastic work. Now, all that came because fundamentally, I had believed that there is an opportunity. Either I look at it as an opportunity, as our Prime Minister also has been saying, and I loved the day he said about this in the last speech, that we think that instead of thinking this is a calamity, let's look at this as an opportunity for it. I very strongly believe that. So that's one. I personally believe that this work which we did as an HR team for the company was not typical HR definition. Each of my HR person would have, there are a lot of things which people have done. I don't want to go too much in detail, but it was a fantastic learning experience for us in terms of how do you support business to remain steadfast while ensuring people safety. We did both. We never compromised on people's safety and people's motivation, but we supported the business to remain steadfast. The second one, I'll go back to my earlier organization, my previous organization. We had acquired in my previous organization when I was looking after India region, just before I went to Europe, we had acquired 2 companies. One was Solvay and second was Pharma. And I was from Abbott, typical blue blood multinational. And we acquired one German global company and we acquired an Indian MNC. And then we are trying to integrate. That point of time, we realized that if we bring all the three sales force as one, we may need to do a lot of moving of products and lines and people here and there. And the typical way the sales force work, because of the presence of union and other stuff in there, they may not be very flexible to do this flexibility. And so at that point of time, I had proposed to the organization that why don't we look at how do we transform our sales force? How do we transform from them from being medical representatives to actually have professionals who are marketing professionals, who are very flexible, nimble, who move and who add value to a doctor. I proposed this particular initiative right in middle of integration going on, which was a very stupid thing to do according to many stalwarts of ER and IR. And it took me around 3.5-4 months to convince my corporation to agree to that particular project, which was by their definition was a very bold and courageous project. They also had good support of my business leaders who stood by me, including my region and corporate, and my HR team and my business team, and we implemented that project. That project had a lot of difficulty in terms of union feeling that we were trying to hoodwink them, which was not the case. So we had to collaborate with the union, make them understand that no, this is not the intention. We worked out a win-win deal for everybody. And that got implemented, and it was a great success. Our estimation was that we would be able to transform 65-70% of our sales force. We landed with 97% transformation, which made Abbott realize its own strategic objective, its own performance objectives for the last couple of years. Of course, then that project got Chairman's Award and EVP Award and all that. That's part of the recognition. But no pharma industry had done it at one point of time to boldly step up and say, I'm changing your job. I'm changing your job description. And I would like to give you this offer. I'm not going to do it behind your back. I'm giving you an offer, which is a good offer. If you want to accept it, please accept it. And when 97% of your sales force, which is around 15,000 employees, they in 3 to 4 months accept your offer, which was never done in industry, then it's something which I believe was a very courageous thing to do, which transformed Abbott and transformed the industry.
Very, very revealing story about Bhatt, as you have described. Definitely. I am going to run a rapid fire round. You will have to just answer the questions in maybe 2 to 3 seconds, okay? So
are you going to give any coffee? Are you going to give any coffee mug or a hamper after that?
Okay.
All right.
So first have rapid fire round, and then of course you will have that privilege. Okay. So first question is your views on empowerment.
Empowerment is never given. You have to prove that you are capable to hold the responsibility.
Performance management of individuals versus rewarding team effort. What are your comments in handling?
I would say both are important. Recognizing individual effort is important. Recognizing team effort is important. Organizations have made mistakes of doing either or. It doesn't work. Both are important.
What makes a CHRO biggest strength?
Doing things right way.
Okay.
Focusing on culture and capability.
Okay. Your takeaway on work-life balance.
You can achieve your work-life balance. Not necessary it would be equal.
Okay.
At different point of time in your career, at different point of time in your life, the balance will shift between work and life.
Sure.
It's up to us to manage that, and we can manage it.
We can manage it. That's what is important. One leadership lesson in a family-owned company.
Be humble.
That's great. That's really something. Ajayji, we have still a lot of questions unanswered, and I think I'll have to find out some more opportunities to seek your time and to interview you and to get your advices on various other things. But currently we are constrained. It has been a great experience to speak to you, and I'm sure those who are viewers of this video, this interview, would also appreciate the same. It was wonderful to have you with us on C-Suite Speaks, and CHRO has spoken as a C-Suite, and we are really thankful to you for your insights into various problems. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed and learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.